My name is Blair Baker, and
my name is Kline.
And we are the co-artistic directors of Missing Bolts Productions.
And we are co-producers of the international reading scheme of Upon the Fragile Shore by the wonderful award-winning Caridad Svich, one of our greatest playwrights.
And we're here today to talk about fragility and what it means to us and what it means in relationship to the play. And because there are two of us, we thought we would talk about it for a little bit and see what we can come up with here. So Zach, what do you think of fragility?
I think of it that it's something that's in between places, that even this idea of fragility, that something has an essence of fragility, of being fragile, is almost not existing at all, or I shouldn't say not existing at all, that it's sort of in between existences. It's sort of in between being something very hard and tangible and then something more ephemeral and hard to grasp. It's sort of, it has a almost, we know it's there, but it's almost not there quality, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny because whenever I think of the word fragile, I just instantly think of the label on a box that says fragile, and so I think of something very tangible, but then when I try to make my mind think bigger, I think a lot of that label, of what it means when we label something fragile, because does it mean automatically that thing is weak, or that it could be gone?
Right, or just that it's very special and needs to be guarded. And
exactly.
I think that becomes the question then of, once we put that label on something, of do we pay attention to it? Do we really know it? Do we really know that means? I mean, if you're in a sense, everything should be fragile,
exactly.
Right? Every life should be fragile. Every moment should be fragile. It's going to pass. It's not going to happen again. But of course, we can't live our lives that way.
Yeah, and I think it actually kind of hits us even deeper when we have labeled these things as fragile, and so we give them their due attention and blah blah. But then when something breaks that wasn't labeled fragile, and we're like, oh no, we forgot about this other thing. And I think that's kind of what's happening with the world. We like to believe that we have this really strong and resilient world, and we almost are testing that.
Yeah, I think it's the great question of this play, because it sort of tackles head on all these catastrophes, some natural, some man-made, these tragedies in the world that in a way we've become immune to because they happen so often.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, another bombing, another shooting, and there's sort of that quality to it. It also hits us very hard though each time. So it's living in that sort of space. And I think the question of the play, at least for me, is how do we respond as artists and just as humankind in general, and the fact that what does it take to really make us stand up and say, no, enough, or no, we're going to change this, or no, we're going to change the state of the world.
Because often, a lot of the time, that label doesn't really do anything to us, because, oh wait, it's fragile, so that's taken care of, blah blah, it has to break.
Well, and it's like, it's fragile to you. I had a guy who I used to write with, who had an electric guitar, and he always had his heavy case, and it would say fragile. He used to say, from when I used to play a lot of gigs. And that's right, it's like, that guitar's fragile to you. Yeah, I'm not going to pick it up and smash it on the ground because it's your guitar, and I respect that, and it's an instrument. I would never do that, but that doesn't mean for you. So I think the play in something to sort of, in a broader mindset, is what's fragile. What's the big meaning of fragile? When the world itself is fragile, how do we then take care of it and react to it?
When is it universal and when is it personal?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is what's so nice about this is a monologue play, and that these are very personal stories about the most universal themes. So living in between that space sort of invites the audience in to say, well, that's interesting. Where do I fit in this, and what's my relationship to these fragile moments?
And I really love the scene in the play that is when the group is talking about the plane, the plane that disappeared, and that scene is really lovely, because I think of, like, we like to believe that a plane isn't a fragile thing.
No, I mean, we're told planes can land themselves.
Yeah.
Planes are safer than driving, which statistically I know they are for the FAA and anyone who's watching this. But right, exactly. When something that's steel and technology, two things that that's probably not steel, but that's some sort of highly man-made space age product in this technology that we literally trust our lives in isn't trusted for whatever reason. That's
Yeah. So I guess, like, wrapping up a little, what do you kind of want to take away from the word fragile? I think from our conversation, I've taken away the fact that, like, when somebody labels fragile, I think I'm really something fragile. I'm gonna really think about what it means to them and why they think it's that it is fragile. Is it fragile because it's literally fragile because it is reach and earn, and if it falls on the ground it'll break?
Right.
Or is it fragile because it means so much to that person?
Yeah, and I think what I take away is the very way that I sort of like to process the world as an artist myself, which is, right, how is this meaningful to me? Why is this meaningful to someone else? And how is this meaningful to the greater world? This sort of orbiting circle of fragility.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks.